educated, can't work, multiple wives, unemployable. They're going to go on welfare. They're going to require schools and police and doctor care. Why would you bring them in unless you wanted to destroy the country? Answer, because he wants to destroy the country, along with the vermin in the ACLU. Are you ready for this one? The ACLU in El Paso, Texas, has renamed illegal immigrants international commuters. I'll repeat that again because nobody can believe this. On May 13th, dozens of members of the ACLU, the Anti-Christian Liberties Union, on the U.S. side of the Santa Fe Street border bridge in El Paso, were handing out pamphlets to illegal aliens who they refer to as international commuters from Mexico. Obama has destroyed America. He is going to destroy it so it's unrecognizable unless he is stopped. He is a thug. Obama is a criminal thug. Do you understand this? He is the thug. Who gives him the authority to do this to this country? Who? The invisible Republican Party and their mouthpieces in the media who keep talking about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, George Washington and Ronald Reagan as though they're the Holy Grail. I don't need George Washington or Ronald Reagan to save me. Ronald Reagan opened the borders to Mexico, by the way, the great savior of the conservatives. Ronald Reagan granted amnesty to the illegals from Mexico. Never forget that. So don't go for that malarkey about how great Reagan was. But that's a subject for another day. As Floridians are being displaced, Rubio demands more foreign workers. I'm not making this up. I told you I didn't like him. I knew he was a slime ball. I told you Rubio was a slimy creature from the swamps. This slimy liar, Rubio, is pushing a bill that would triple the number of guest workers businesses could hire every year. After hundreds of workers in his state were fired and literally replaced by foreign guest workers. Now, it's interesting you can't put two and two together as quickly as I. Who is it who backed Rubio last week? Raise your hands if you remember. It was a Silicon Valley trillionaire named Larry Ellison. And no one understood why Larry Ellison backed Rubio. Now you understand why Larry Ellison backed Rubio. He owns Oracle, doesn't he? What does Oracle want? Cheaper costs. How do you get cheaper costs? You fire American IT workers and you hire illegal aliens. So who does he go to? He goes to the pimp, Rubio. Did I tell you that they're nothing but front men for the power structure? Do you have any faith in Rubio or any one of the rest of them? No. Did you hear what happened at Disney? Did you hear what happened to Southern California Edison? They fired hundreds of American tech workers, and Disney, that rat, Michael Eisner, that double-talking anti-American slimeball, Disney's company forced American technical workers to train their foreign replacements who were flown in specifically to steal their jobs. That's what Michael Eisner did at Disney. That's what Rubio wants done in Florida. That's the Republican Party in the state of the world in which we live. The subhumans in ISIS have taken another city. They're killing thousands of people. There's blood running in the streets. There's a humanitarian crisis of 40 to 60 to 80,000 people fleeing this Syrian city of Palmyra right now. And Obama does nothing but lie about it, saying it's only a quirk, not a setback in his great war plans. No other nation on earth would permit this to go on. There'd be riots in the streets if this went on. Now, the only reason there are no riots in America over this lying crook in the White House, and I'm calling him names that were called of Nixon, so if you don't like it, it's payback. They called Nixon every name under the sun. This man makes Richard Nixon look like a saint. What this man's doing, at least we knew where Nixon was born, and we knew where his loyalties lie. But the fact of the matter is, this guy is wrecking the world. It's plain. It's clear. Anyone with a brain can see what he's doing. Domestically, internationally, nothing this man does is right. So you got a refugee crisis. They're about to destroy archaeological sites 1,000 years old. There's only one reason that America doesn't care, that you are apathetic. You know what that is? There's no draft. Because there's no draft, there's nothing in it for any of us. What do you care? It's some geek son from across the Hudson River, some white cracker who's going to go over there and fight, right? That's how you think. Don't tell me I don't know how you think. What do I care? My son's not in the military. He married his boyfriend. That's all I care about. We're having a wedding for him up at the museum. That's all. Let some geek west of the Hudson. Let them fight. Let some cracker's son with a big cross go over there and fight. What do I care? My son's marrying his boyfriend in New York. That's all. That's what I care about. I care about gay rights. I care about global warming. I care about cetaceans. You think I don't know the mind of America? I do. So I'm sitting here watching the world burning in front of my eyes, America becoming a third world cesspool in front of my eyes, and I say to myself, how far can I go every day? Just how far can I go in describing what I, an American citizen, the son of an immigrant, sees happening to my country under this evil man in the White House? There is no other word for him, because any other man would see the damage he's doing. He's not stupid. He's not blind. He knows what he did in Baltimore. He knows that he encouraged the thugs after the fact by justifying it and saying the police were at fault and the poor thugs are oppressed blacks. He said that, for God's sakes. And what's the result in Baltimore? You haven't read about it in your local rag, huh? Well, here it is. Crime spike in Baltimore. Dramatic increase in homicides, shootings since riots. Asian American businesses targeted by the blacks in Baltimore. Why? Thank you, Barack Obama. Thanks, Eric Holder. Thanks, Loretta Lynch. You're doing a great job, aren't you? That's what's going on. Now, if you go to my little website, michaelsavage.com, there's a story that you should also see. White female cop who should have been out on maternity leave. She had just given birth. Got in a shootout and was shot dead by a black thug just hours before going on maternity leave. Scroll down. How about that horrible story of the quadruple murder in Virginia, where an executive and his wife and 10-year-old son were tied to a chair, tortured with a knife, and then the house was set on fire. Arrest warrant issued for suspect in quadruple murder. There is an epidemic in America right now, an out-of-control epidemic of crime. And you can blame it on the character in the White House, Eric Holder, Al Sharpton. They triggered this. They told the police to stand down, and they told the thugs to do whatever they wanted. Here's another one in San Francisco here. Elderly Chinese lady randomly attacked in San Francisco. The useless San Francisco Chronicle, the most worthless rag in the United States of America. In history, there's never been anything worse than this. Mother's Day, old Chinese lady, 70-some-odd years old, gets off a bus in Chinatown, and she's assaulted. They won't show the picture or describe they won't even describe the assailant. But the police initially described the assailant as a black female who went up to this poor old Chinese woman and smacked her in the head. Now they're trying to find the assailant. Good luck. Police said 3 days after the assault, the woman's family found her unconscious at home. The loved one was taken to the hospital where she remained in critical condition on Wednesday. Severe assault now. Went up to her and beat her up because she was a Chinese. Did you hear what I said? You want to know what racism is? Look carefully. You'll find it real easy in this country. Real easy. She was on the 30 Stockton bus, which is known as we have a name for it here in San Francisco, but there's no joking about this. She gets off the bus, and there's no motive. Woman comes up and beats her up, leaves her in critical condition in the hospital. Where's the outcry in the Chinese community? Asians are being targeted in Baltimore. You know why? There's great racism against Asians amongst a certain population here in America. But don't tell that to Barack Obama. Now, he's interested in climate change at the military academies. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I, Michael Savage, trust to buy my gold and silver from.
I think the Malaysians and the Indonesians have requested some help resettling people. We're taking a careful look at the proposal. We're prepared to take a leading role in any UNHCR organized multi-country effort to resettle the most vulnerable refugees. I'd note that more than 1,000 Rohingya have already been resettled to the U.S. so far this fiscal year. And we're also providing assistance. This year, we provided nearly $109 million in humanitarian assistance for vulnerable Burmese.
Shut up! Shut up, chickmouth! That's one of the chief sorority girls for Obama, a woman who was a rolling disaster, both for the administration and for America's reputation. So now this criminal, and I believe she's a criminal, she knows what she's doing. Is it not criminal to tell America that we should be taking in Muslim refugees at a time like this? While Islam is on the march in the Middle East, Islam is at war with neighbors around the world. Why would you bring in more Muslims? Why? Tell me the benefit of bringing in more Muslims. Yes, let's focus on Muslims. Why? What's the reason for it? Moreover, these are not educated people. The Rohingya that they want to flood America with from Burma are amongst the lowest educated in Burma. They cannot work here. Many of them have multiple wives as part of their religion. Oh, yeah. Part of their religion is multiple wives. Now, when a Mormon did it, there were television shows, HBO documentaries. Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg went crazy when a Christian Mormon had multiple wives. But Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg haven't anything to say about multiple wives in the Muslim community. Nothing. They're unemployable. They're going to clog the welfare rolls. The schools will be overflowing. Do I need to go down the list? I don't think I do. I mean, any person can see this. How is this good for America? It isn't. So why would the grand illusionist be doing this to us? Why would the same man who is failing as a whatever they call him, a commander-in-chief, I love it, an anti-war guy who never shot a BB gun, commander-in-chief, George Washington there. George Washington with a golf club. He's about to charge across Trenton to the next golf course. The great commander-in-chief. Everything he said he did is blowing up in his face, but because of the New York Times, he gets away with it. So what can I say about it other than tell you what's going on? Executive amnesty for child molester. Yeah, big story. Big problem, big story. 855-400-7282. And over in England, it's interesting, immigration was a big issue in England. And unfortunately, the Conservative Party lost, the UKIP party lost. And Cameron, who was a fake Tory, very much like our Republican Party, Cameron's a complete double-talking fraud, a complete faker. He pledged action to curb migration numbers after the number of people entering Britain outstripped those leaving by 318,000. These latest figures from the Office of National Statistics are up over 100,000 in 2014 compared with 2013. And yet this very same liar, Cameron, promised no ifs, no buts to cut net migration, meaning the number of people entering the country minus the number leaving the country. But new data shows that he's a complete liar. He has not stopped the dramatic flood of illegal aliens. Now, to his credit, Cameron wants to restrict benefits to EU migrants and crack down on illegal aliens. Anyone caught in the UK without the right to work will have their wages confiscated and be deported immediately, without being allowed to appeal until they are in their home country. That's a good move. Wouldn't you love that in America? Wouldn't that be great if you woke up to a leader who said, anyone caught in the United States without the right to work will have their wages confiscated and you'll be deported immediately. You won't be able to appeal until you're in their home country. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Do you know what this actually means? Somebody did the analysis. It means that 285,000 people came to work in the United Kingdom in 1 year alone. And they wrote, that is the city of the size of Nottingham, which has nearly 100 schools, 60 GP surgeries, and several hospitals. Britain needs to provide the equivalent just to keep up with the workers arriving, and this illustrates clearly the strain mass migration is putting on our public services. Why do we not hear such an argument in this country from the Republican Party? When have you last heard Rubio say that mass migration from Mexico and China is putting a strain on our public services? When has that fraud said that? Never.
Savage.